Good evening. A major diplomatic development is unfolding as officials confirm that talks between the United States and Iran continued for more than 14 hours, highlighting both the urgency and the complexity of efforts to reduce tensions in the region. According to reports carried by Geo News, the mezakrulat took place under mediation in Islamabad, where delegations from both countries remained engaged in continuous dialogue well into the night. The extended duration of these talks signals how critical the situation has become, with both sides attempting to navigate one of the most sensitive geopolitical crises in recent years. Sources from the Iranian government confirmed that the discussions were intense and wide-ranging. Key issues on the table included Iran's nuclear program, the future of economic sanctions, regional influence, and maritime security, particularly around the strategically crucial Strait of Hormuz. This waterway remains one of the most vital Ninfut routes in the world, making it central to both economic stability and military strategy. The talks reportedly began earlier in the day and extended for more than 14 hours, without a formal agreement. While that may appear to be a setback, analysts say the length of the discussions itself is significant. In diplomacy, time often reflects seriousness, and the willingness of both sides to remain at the negotiating table suggests that neither is ready to completely walk away from dialogue. However, despite the long hours of engagement, deep divisions remain. U.S. officials are believed to have pushed for stricter limitations on Iran's nuclear activities, along with stronger verification mechanisms. On the other hand, Iranian representatives have insisted on the lifting of sanctions and the recognition of their strategic and economic interests in the region. This gap in expectations has proven difficult to bridge. Iranian officials reportedly described some of the U.S. demands as unrealistic, while American representatives maintain that their proposals were necessary to ensure long-term stability and security. The result was a muzakaraat session that, while lengthy, ultimately ended without a breakthrough. Still, the tone of the discussions appears to have remained largely diplomatic. There were no immediate signs of a complete breakdown in communication, and both sides are said to have left the door open for future engagement. This is an important detail, as it indicates that while progress is slow, the possibility of continued negotiations remains alive. The role of Pakistan as a mediator has also drawn attention. Hosting such high-level talks places Islamabad at the center of a critical diplomatic effort. Observers note that regional players are increasingly stepping in to prevent further escalation, recognizing that instability in this part of the world has far-reaching consequences. The broader context of these talks cannot be ignored. Over recent weeks, tensions between the United States and Iran have escalated significantly. Military posturing, economic pressure, and strategic positioning in the Gulf have all contributed to an environment of uncertainty. Against this backdrop, the 14-hour muzakaraat session represents a serious attempt to de-escalate. One of the central concerns remains the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow passage handles a significant percentage of global oil shipments, and any disruption there can send shockwaves across international markets. Both sides understand the stakes, which is why maritime security continues to be a key focus of negotiations. Global markets have been closely watching these developments. Even without a final agreement, the mere continuation of talks has provided a degree of cautious optimism. Investors and policymakers alike are looking for any sign that tensions might ease, even temporarily. At the same time, the lack of a concrete outcome has also fueled uncertainty. Without clear commitments, the risk of escalation remains. Military analysts warn that prolonged automatic attack could lead to further strategic moves by either side, potentially increasing tensions rather than reducing them. Despite these concerns, diplomatic channels remain open. Reports suggest that technical teams may continue discussions in the coming days, focusing on specific muddahs in an effort to gradually build consensus. This step-by-step approach is often used in complex negotiations, where immediate agreements are difficult to achieve. International reactions have been mixed but generally cautious. Many global leaders have welcomed the continuation of talks, emphasizing the importance of dialogue over confrontation. Calls for restraint have been issued, urging both Washington and Tehran to avoid actions that could undermine diplomatic efforts. For now, the situation remains fluid. The 14-hour muzakaraat session has ended, but the broader process is far from over. Each round of talks adds another layer to an already complex negotiation, where progress is measured not just in agreements, but in the ability to keep communication alive. Looking ahead, several possible scenarios remain on the table. One possibility is that both sides return to negotiations with revised positions, seeking compromise. Another is a prolonged diplomatic stalemate, where talks continue without major breakthroughs. And of course, there is always the risk that tensions could rise again if negotiations fail entirely. What is clear is that both the United States and Iran understand the stakes involved. The decisions made in these discussions will not only affect their bilateral relationship, but could also shape the stability of the entire region. This report is based on currently available information, and as with any developing story, details may evolve as new updates emerge. For now, the world watches closely as diplomacy continues behind closed doors, with cautious hope that dialogue, however long and difficult, can still pave the way for a more stable outcome. Stay with us for more updates.